No one anticipated Gilligan's Island would become such a timeless classic when it initially debuted. For decades, fans laughed, smiled, and clung to the charm of that small island because the castaways felt like family. However, the cherished cast members gradually left us as the years went by. There is now just one member of the primary cast left, and although you might think it would be fortunate to live up to such a heritage, her road has been replete with heartache, loss, and hardships that few could fathom. Who, then, is Gilligan's Island's last living resident? Come along as we learn more about her and how her life ended tragically. What happened to the castaways? A straightforward query gave rise to Gilligan's Island. What would be the one item you would bring with you if you were marooned on a desert island? That question resonated with Sherwood Schwartz after he heard it in a New York University seminar. He saw it as an ingenious method of bringing disparate individuals together and making them coexist. This is how Gilligan's Island came to be. From 1964 to 1966, the program lasted for 3 seasons, totaling 98 episodes. The memorable theme music has remained in people's minds for decades. While many fans are unaware of the true backstories of the cast members, they certainly recall the roles. Tales that frequently featured tragedy. The multiple lives of Dobie Gillis were the initial source of popularity for Bob Denver, who played Gilligan. He stood out in his performance as Maynard G. Krebs, and Schwartz picked him for Gilligan right away. Denver went on to star in Dusty's Trail, which was essentially a Wild West version of Gilligan's Island. However, it was only a one-season show. Wearing the iconic red sweater and bucket hat, he made a comeback for spin-offs and even made an appearance in Baywatch in 1992. "I left Los Angeles in the 1970s because I was TV'd out," he said in 1995. Denver tragically passed away from cancer-related complications in September 2005 at the age of 70. Only weeks prior to production, Schwartz found Alan Hale Jr., who played the lovable Skipper. "I wanted a big guy, a teddy bear, not a bear," Schwartz reportedly remarked. Hale was a teddy bear, and his portrayal of Gilligan was adored by fans. Following the performance, Hale founded Skipper Alan Hale's Lobster Barrel, a restaurant with which he was actively involved until the early 1980s. However, he died in January 1990 at the age of 68 after being diagnosed with thymus cancer in 1989. Prior to joining the ensemble, Jim Backus, who portrayed Thurston Howell III, the millionaire, was already well known. He voiced Mr. Magoo and co-starred with James Dean in Rebel Without a Cause. In addition to continuing to voice the character, he made appearances in films such as Disney's Pete's Dragon. Unfortunately, his subsequent efforts was hindered by Parkinson's illness. He became the first cast member to die when he died away in July 1989. Lovey Howell was portrayed by Natalie Schafer, who was renowned for her sophisticated, affluent parts. She made appearances on programs including The Brady Bunch and Three's Company and reprised her role in spin-offs. In 1990, she played her last role. She left $2 million to support the Motion Picture and Television Hospital after passing away from liver cancer in 1991 at the age of 90. One castaway is still alive even if the others have achieved their destinies. The final living member of Gilligan's Island's core cast is Tina Louise, who portrayed the glitzy Ginger. However, she has also experienced hardship and sadness on her own path. A lonely childhood. Born Tina Blacker in New York City in 1934, Tina Louise did not have the cozy home life that many kids aspire to. Her father, Joseph, and mother, Sylvia, a young fashion model, reared her alone. He worked as an accountant after owning a candy store in Brooklyn. However, Tina's parents separated when she was just 4 years old. Her life was altered by that moment. While her father was 10 years older and soon to be out of the picture, her mother was only 18 when she gave birth, still finding out her own path. Even Tina's name tells a tale. She recalled telling a drama teacher in high school that she was the only female in her class without a middle name. Louise was recommended by the teachers, and it stuck. Later on, the world will know her by that name. However, she was a young child thrown away from home long before she became Tina Louise. She was sent to a boarding school in Ardsley, New York, when she was 6 years old. Deep sentiments of loneliness were sown by such separation. Tina said the school was scary and harsh. "I didn't want to be there right from the start," she admitted. The children were harsh to each other, forming groups like gangs. She recalled once being told her job was to hit another girl, something that left her confused and hurt. Those years felt like survival, not childhood. And the scars from those experiences would follow her even when she found fame. Life inside boarding school walls. Tina's memories of boarding school sound like something out of a dark novel. She compared it to Lord of the Flies, saying, "We were all just a bunch of angry little girls. Nobody wanted to be there." One girl even stabbed her in the wrist with a pencil, leaving a scar she still carried decades later. Punishments were cruel. When she was caught whispering to another girl at night, a teacher forced her to stand alone in a pitch-black bathroom. Spiders crawling above her. Another time, she was slapped for not running a bath properly. The few small joys she tried to hold on to were often taken from her. Her mother once brought her a doll, but it was quickly taken away by the school. She remembered, "You don't remember things like that. You just remember that it was taken away." Her closest friends were the caterpillars she hid in a box under her bed. But even those were eventually taken from her. She prayed for Sundays because that was visiting day, yet her parents didn't always come. "I yearned for hugs," she said, recalling how painful it was to wait and wait, often with no one showing up. The pain made her dream of escape. She even tried to get sick on purpose. "I remember I kept trying to catch a very bad cold so that I could hardly speak, so I could leave this place," she revealed. But even that didn't work. Instead, she was told to call her mother, only to be told it wasn't the time to get out. Her mother was then with her second husband, who didn't want a little girl around. He wanted his beautiful wife all to himself. For young Tina, that rejection cut deep. It seemed like she didn't belong anywhere. And yet, her journey was only beginning. Between parents and heartbreak. At 8 years old, Tina finally left boarding school and moved in with her father and his new wife. She was overjoyed, finally feeling like she had a home. But that happiness didn't last long. When she turned 11, her mother, now married to a wealthy doctor, her third husband, decided she wanted Tina back. Suddenly, Tina was forced to live in a fancy New York townhouse. She had to leave her father behind, something that broke her heart. She later confessed, "I was very upset. I could never even say his name. It couldn't come out of my mouth." She blamed him for not fighting harder in court to keep her. She claimed that although she was expecting him to do something, she had to tell him that she could no longer see him. She was upset for years because she felt guilty about having to tell her beloved father that. Only just before her Hollywood career took off would she see him again. No amount of celebrity could heal the wounds caused by that protracted separation. She also had a complex relationship with her mother. According to Tina, "She was the most powerful person in my life, yet she frequently felt imprisoned and invisible as a result of her power." Her mother was troubled also. Her father had even temporarily left his children in an orphanage, and she had lost her own mother when she was 3 years old. Tina clarified that she never would have thought she would become a mother at the age of 18. There was no mother to her. She needed a man to rely on at all times. Her decisions, including her 4 marriages and her temper, were influenced by that need. Tina described her mother as being quite attractive. She was often irritable with others, yet she loved the arts. Her mother encouraged her love of performing in spite of everything. And Tina was able to leave her traumatic background thanks to that encouragement. Hollywood to Broadway. The beginning of Tina Louise's career was unexpectedly early. She appeared in a commercial for her father's confectionery when she was barely 2 years old. She had already taken acting seriously by the age of 17. She learned acting, singing, and dancing from Sanford Meisner at Manhattan's renowned neighborhood playhouse. She made her stage debut in the company of the Bette Davis musical Revue 2 in 1952. Will's success spoiler Rock Hunter, John Murray Anderson's Almanac, and the popular musical Lil Abner were among the subsequent Broadway parts. Tina also made television appearances at about the same period in anthology dramas such as Producers Showcase and Studio One. Her remarkable appearance also attracted notice. She worked for pin-up magazines, got modeling gigs, and even made an appearance in the Fredericks of Hollywood catalog from 1958. She was promoted by Columbia Pictures in May 1958 and April 1959 through Playboy pictorials. Tina, however, desired to be recognized as more than just a model. The movie God's Little Acre gave her her big break in 1958. In the same year, the National Art Council declared her the most beautiful redhead in the world. Hollywood noticed right away. She co-starred with Robert Ryan in 1959's Day of the Outlaw and went on to become the leading lady for men such as Richard Widmark and Robert Taylor. She frequently played serious, dramatic roles in these performances. It's interesting to note that she rejected the movie adaptations of Operation Petticoat and Lil Abner. Rather, she opted for Broadway parts and even dabbled in Italian film. She performed in Garibaldi and the Siege of Syracuse in 1960. Her decisions made her stand out, but she had a more significant role waiting for her back home, becoming Ginger Grant. Following her time abroad, Tina came back to the US and honed her skills at the Actors Studio under Lee Strasberg. She was back on American television by the early 1960s. She appeared as a West Virginia farm girl on The Real McCoys as a guest appearance in 1962. She co-starred with Bob Denver in the beach movie For Those Who Think Young 2 years later. Her life will soon be altered by that link. Tina departed the Broadway production of Fade Out, Fade In 1964 to play a different part. The glitzy Gilligan's Island movie star is Ginger Grant. She would become well known thanks to the show. Ginger was originally intended to be a character like to Marilyn Monroe, but the focus changed. A different director took over and really got to work writing for my role, Tina later remarked. I adored my role. Ginger became one of the most iconic castaways from the show, and her fans loved her. However, Tina faced challenges in her work. She became dissatisfied, fearing that portraying Ginger would permanently stereotype her. She frequently acknowledged that she believed the role had harmed her film career. She declined to reprise her role in the reunion films Rescue from Gilligan's Island, 1978, The Castaways on Gilligan's Island, 1979, and The Harlem Globetrotters on Gilligan's Island, 1981, in contrast to her co-stars. Instead, other actresses portrayed Ginger. Tina's career did not, however, stagnate. She went on to perform in movies including The Stepford Wives, 1975, and The Wrecking Crew, 1969, alongside Dean Martin. She also experimented with darker parts that were very different from Ginger's dazzling persona. She portrayed a heroin addict in a Kojak episode in 1974. She also played a vicious prison warden in Nightmare in Batham County in 1976. A spell on the well-known soap series Dallas from 1978 to 1979, SST Deathflight in 1977, and Look What's Happened to Rosemary's Baby in 1976 were among her other endeavors. She even became a part of the syndicated soap opera routines in the 1980s. Tina's career was demonstrating that she was capable of much more than just portraying a stranded movie star. But people never forgot Ginger, regardless of what she did. Life after the island. Tina Louise went on to perform in television and movies in her later years. She made an appearance in the comedy OC by Robert Altman and Stiggs in 1987, and she co-starred with a young Brad Pitt in the satirical Johnny Sweet in 1992. In 1990, she also appeared as a guest on Married Us with Children. She demonstrated that she was still active in front of the camera by making appearances in Tapestry and the horror movie Late Phases in 2014. Despite avoiding the Gilligan's Island reunion films, she did occasionally participate in shows related to the series. She appeared on chat shows such as The Late Show in 1988 and Good Morning America in 1982. She even appeared on the 2004 TV Land Awards. In a Roseanne episode from the 1990s, she reconnected with co-stars Russell Johnson, Dawn Wells, and Bob Denver. In 2001, she did not participate in Surviving Gilligan's Island. Kristen Dalton, another actor, played her part. Although there were often rumors that she and Denver had a tense relationship, she wrote an emotional memorial for Entertainment Weekly in 2005 following his passing. Tina became Gilligan's Island's final cast member after Dawn Wells, who played Mary Ann, died in December 2020. Speaking to supporters, she refuted claims that she had ever found portraying Ginger unpleasant. Never true. She remarked, "I love doing my part." She also thanked the viewers who had stuck with the show throughout the years. "We made people happy and continue to do so. There are a lot of things going on, and this program offers an escape. These days, fathers tell their kids about it. Regarding it, I frequently receive letters." Tina Louise stayed connected to the island even as decades went by. Even though she portrayed a variety of characters, the world still recognized her as the glitzy celebrity Ginger Grant, who was marooned on a small island with 6 other castaways. And for Tina, that role, no matter how complex her emotions were at the time, had grown to be a rich and hopeful part of her legacy. She also discussed Gilligan's Island's financial situation, acknowledging that at the time, no one was receiving residuals. No one. The performers never saw the show's enormous revenues, even though its owners did. Tina is still in awe of the show's enduring influence, though. She said to Fox News Digital, "I'm just amazed that it's still on." Tina Louise's tale is replete with grief and tenacity, spanning from a difficult upbringing to Hollywood fame to giving back to kids. Even for the final castaway to survive Gilligan's Island, the memories of her early years still linger, despite the fact that she managed to escape the loneliness of her early years. A brief marriage while working on Gilligan's Island in 1966, Tina Louise wed Les Crane. Crane was a multi-talented individual. In New York City, he initially gained notoriety as a talk show presenter. Beginning in 1963, his late-night program Nightline, later renamed The Les Crane Show, became well known for its audacious decisions. His introduction of the Rolling Stones on American television in June 1964 stands out as one of his most significant achievements. Crane alternated between hosting and acting after the show concluded, never remaining in one role for too long. He even shared the screen with Tina in 1970. In an episode of Love American Style, the two portrayed a married couple, giving viewers a preview of their relationship in real life. Crane shone his ability to excel in any profession by entering the software industry in the 1980s. Their daughter Caprice honored him when he died in July 2008 at the age of 74. "He was amazing," she stated with pride. "He flew combat aircraft. He worked as a DJ on the radio. He hosted a talk program on television. He received a Grammy. He founded an online business. He was everywhere, and he was successful at everything he tried." Caprice recalled his bold personality as well, stating that he was always the first to try something new. In order to discover the next thing before anyone else did, he was constantly on the edge. He passed away too soon and was incredibly intelligent and humorous. Les's marriage to Tina ended despite all of his achievements. In 1970, the couple split up just a few months after the birth of their daughter. However, their daughter would unexpectedly maintain ties with both parents. A daughter who set off on her own. In November 1970, Caprice Crane was born, shortly before her parents divorced. As she grew older, she established herself in the entertainment industry. She started working at MTV after graduating from New York University. As a writer-producer for the network, she produced programming for sports specials and the MTV Movie Awards. Her aspirations, however, did not end there. Caprice started penning novels and then Hollywood screenplays. In the 2000s, she even contributed to the reboots of Melrose Place, Beverly Hills, and 90210. Caprice has shown her affection for her mother in interviews. She told Pop Entertainment in 2009 that she always missed being close to her mother in New York, even though residing in Los Angeles kept them apart. "If there is one thing I don't like about living in LA, it's not being so close to my mom," she said. She even shared how close their bond really was. "Some people think this is insane, but when I'm in New York, my apartment is literally 1 block away from my mom's apartment. And I love it. I could even live in the same building as her, but probably not the same floor. I love having her that close." Caprice's words showed not only her admiration for her mother, but also how strong their connection remained, even after Tina stepped away from the Hollywood spotlight. And while Tina's marriage ended long ago, the love between mother and daughter has remained one of the most important parts of her life. Away from the spotlight. Tina Louise never announced her retirement, but in recent years, she has chosen to live a quiet life away from the Hollywood spotlight. Unlike many of her co-stars, she famously refused to reprise her role as Ginger Grant in the three Gilligan's Island reunion movies during the 1970s and 1980s. Still, she appeared in notable films like The Stepford Wives in 1975 and later starred alongside a young Brad Pitt in Johnny Suede in 1991. Even though she stayed active in films, Tina admitted she felt complicated about the role that made her famous. In March 2025, she told the New York Times that she was very grateful for her time on Gilligan's Island, but preferred to be known for other things. She explained that part of her discomfort came from how little money the cast made during filming. They were paid only $1,500 per episode and, shockingly, not a cent from over 50 years of reruns. While the show brought joy to millions, the actors themselves never shared in the financial rewards. Tina's choice to distance herself from the role wasn't about shame. It was about wanting her work to be valued for more than just Ginger. Yet, despite her feelings, the legacy of the island still follows her. And in her own way, Tina has built a new life full of meaning outside of Hollywood. A devoted mother and grandmother. Today, Tina Louise is proud to call herself a mother, and now a grandmother. She lives in New York, close to her daughter Caprice Crane, and recently welcomed the joy of being a yaya, the Greek word for grandmother. Speaking to Forbes in March 2025, Tina shared that she promised Caprice and her newborn granddaughter she would live another 40 years. She said with determination, "I'm going to do the best I can. I'm not thinking about leaving. I don't think of that. I don't want to think about it. I'm running to stay healthy. I'm walking to the gym. I'm just thinking about staying alive for my family. I love being alive." For Tina, family is everything. In another interview, she reflected on raising Caprice, saying, "It's amazing when you have a child. And I had so much fun, in view of the fact that I had such a strange childhood, so much fun raising her." Now, as a grandmother to twins, a little boy and a little girl, she says they are her number one joy. This bond with her family is what gives her the strength to keep going. Even as time moves forward, Tina refuses to focus on aging or endings. Instead, she focuses on living fully for the people she loves most. And while she may not be chasing Hollywood roles, her daily life still carries the same energy she once brought to the screen. Even though Tina often felt typecast by Gilligan's Island, she has grown to see the impact the show had on people. She admitted, "We brought a lot of joy to people and still do. This show is an escape from so many things going on. Fathers share it with their children now. I get letters all the time about that." She also reflected on why the show meant so much in its time. Her understanding of Gilligan's Island's cultural significance was evident in her remarks. It was more than just a sitcom, it provided solace at a trying time. Reminding people that she was more than Ginger, however, has never stopped Tina. In addition to Beyond the Island, she authored the children's book When I Grow Up and a memoir titled Sunday. She kept acting from time to time, most recently co-starring with Stephen Baldwin in the 2019 movie Tapestry. She responded, "Yes, I would," when asked if she would ever act again. However, it's as if dreaming won't make it so. People probably don't come looking for you. However, I would want to do anything if someone asked me to do it and I had a purpose to do it. Tina prioritizes her health these days. "I usually like to walk at least a mile a day, but many days I walk over 2 miles, she explained. "I had to stay alive, according to my daughter. I watch what I put in my mouth. I eat a lot of plants but would not call myself a vegetarian." In her own words, Tina insists she is focused only on the present. When asked about legacy or what she hopes to leave behind, she cut the conversation short. No. My daughter said I had to live 40 years, so I'm going to do the best I can. I'm not thinking about leaving. I don't think of that. I don't want to think about it. I'm running to stay healthy. I'm walking to the gym. I'm just thinking about staying alive for my family. I love being alive." Her words convey everything. Tina Louise's life now is about thankfulness, fortitude, and the sheer joy of living after decades of notoriety, hardship, and survival. 91 years old, a rare public appearance. The final Gilligan's Island star, Tina Louise, shocked fans on June 4 by making an unusual appearance in New York City. She made her first public appearance since attending the New York Film Festival in 2022 when she stepped out in Manhattan's Upper East Side at the age of 91. Wearing a black leather jacket, blue jeans, and black sneakers, she looked put together yet carefree for the event. She also carried 2 black bags and a navy blue umbrella. Her renowned red hair was still noticeable. The glitzy Ginger Grant she portrayed from 1964 to 1967 comes to mind. "I'm very grateful for all the things that have happened to me and the opportunities that I've had," Tina told the New York Times, expressing her desire to be remembered for more than just the sitcom. "There are other things I would like to be known for. Her family and her work with children are the center of her life these days. It's amazing when you have a child, and I had so much fun raising her," she told Forbes in March. "We now have a young girl and a little boy who are twins. They are the best." Since 1995, Tina has worked in New York schools in a modest capacity with her family, teaching young children to read. She describes the experience as emotionally gratifying, significant, and sustaining. How do you feel about Tina Louise remaining active and upbeat at 91? Does her tale motivate you? Leave a comment below with your opinions. Remember to hit like, subscribe, and follow for more amazing tales from the intriguing history of Hollywood. Until we meet again.